Today, I'm going to show you a real case from one of my clients. Listen carefully to why this property, just 3 months after settlement, has already increased in value by $30,000. Not only that, but with a total price of around $830,000, we can still rent it out for $850 per week. Today, I'm helping him check out the construction site because work is about to start. So, let me take you on a tour and share some thoughts on how we chose the land. If you're considering buying property in Australia or even in New Zealand, this will be helpful for you. Watch this video all the way through. A shift in perspective can make a big difference. Most people buy few properties in their lifetime. If you take in everything I share in these 2 minutes, it will help you make money from property. First, let's look at his neighbor. The neighbor's house is a typical example, renovated at the front with an extension at the back. This is also our strategy. For this plot of land, there are actually options. For example, you could add an identical 2-story townhouse at the back, just like the neighbor did. In fact, building a single story would yield even greater profits. But let's set that aside for now. The strategy we recommended to this client was to build a granny flat and hold on to this 650 square meter piece of land. After a few years, they might be able to subdivide it into 3 lots or sell it to a developer. A typical example, the front part of the house, we've already rented it out for $480 per week. So what are we going to do next? We're going to add a granny flat at the back of this house. The reason I'm here today is to help inspect the concrete foundation because we might actually need to demolish and redo the foundation. Only by doing this can we ensure that the house we build today will still be solid 30 years from now. Some people might cut corners. Since there are all kinds of people in this industry, I won't go into details, but if you take shortcuts and just put something down, you might end up with structural problems 3 years later, and by then, you won't even be able to find the person responsible. As you can see, it also has its own garage. Once this granny flat is built, you'll notice that the main house in the front doesn't have any windows facing the back. We had already considered this when we made our plans. This door here leads to a small backyard in the front, and it's completely separated from the main house. To put it simply, the people living in the back are basically living in a townhouse just like the one next door. With a well-designed granny flat, even if you tell the tenants that it shares a title with the main house, they wouldn't believe you. That's what makes a granny flat beautifully designed. Once this granny flat is finished, we expect to rent it out for about $350 to $370 per week, while the front house rents for about $480 per week. So together, that's $850 per week. And another major advantage of this property's location is that, as you can see from a distance, you can actually see Westfield, so it's in a very prime location. Why have the properties we've bought appreciated so well and have such high rental yields? This is actually consistent with our usual approach. Whatever we help our clients buy, we would buy ourselves. Because whether you're investing or buying a home for yourself in Australia, please like, comment and subscribe or share this with your friends. I often use these videos to share real reflections and experiences.